Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well. Now, I wasn't planning to make a brand new video anytime soon, at least for another few weeks, but there have been several things happening in the markets right now, which I thought I should give you some warning about. And I want to tell you what's been worrying me about the markets overall in the past several weeks. The last time I made a video and we spoke with each other was about the start of January. And back at the time, I think it was the 6th of, I can't remember exactly when it was, probably the first week of January when I spoke with you. Several things have happened since then. So for example, we've seen that a new president has been sworn in. The second thing that's happened since then is that vaccinations have started. So more and more people, especially the elderly and the vulnerable, have been getting vaccinated against COVID. And the third thing that's been happening so far is rampant speculation in the markets, not just the stock market, but also other stocks like you've seen so far, like Gamestop as an example, but also cryptocurrencies. And even silver recently as well. Now you might think these three things I just mentioned are not connected, but actually they are, and I want to explain to you how they're connected. So basically the reason I'm making this video, I want to give you some warning about several things I'm hearing about, especially things which I'm hearing among the dumb money, the herd out there, and I think they're usually on the wrong side of the market, and I want to explain to you why. So the first thing I want to say is about this thing I'm hearing, this narrative I'm hearing right now in the mainstream media and also among some commentators in Wall Street. The first thing is they're saying that because Donald Trump has left the presidency and because Joe Biden is now the new president, he's been sworn in, they're saying, well, look, things are going to go back to normal now. So the first thing I'm hearing is, and I'm sure you've heard this too, is they're saying, okay, the government is going to go back to normal. This word is being used in the media right now is back to normal, back to normalcy. Okay, now that might be true, may not be true, I don't know, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's a very political and partisan issue. The second thing I do actually want to mention is this. There's a much more intelligent argument that's being made right now, which I'm sure you've heard too. The second argument that's been made is that the economy is going to do really well in the next couple of years, this year and next year. And the reason for this, which I'm hearing right now among Wall Street commentators, and people in the mainstream media. And by the way, I'll explain to you in a few minutes why I think this argument is false. But the argument I'm hearing is that because everyone is getting vaccinated right now, because everybody's getting vaccinated against COVID, and more people will become immunized against coronavirus, which by the way, I think is a good thing. I think the sooner we can eradicate this virus, the sooner we can end the suffering of people out there who are catching COVID, and of course, many people dying because of it. In the last few weeks, I've had friends of mine who've written to me and said to me they've lost parents and relatives because of COVID, which of course is very sad. So I think if you, like me, are a reasonable, logical, and compassionate person, then I think the sooner we can deprive the world of this horrible disease, this coronavirus, the better. But here's the argument that I disagree with. I want to explain to you. The argument I'm hearing among people in the media and also among Wall Street analysts is that they're saying that the economy is going to do really well and the market is going to do really well in the next couple of years because, and this is the justification I'm hearing, they're saying because everyone's going to get immunized, everyone is going to get vaccinated, and therefore the lockdowns will end, the economy will prosper again, everyone goes back to work, and again, we'll go back to normal. Again, you're hearing this phrase again, going back to normal. So again, what I'm hearing in the media, again, is the same narrative. The narrative is the economy is going to do really well, and the market will do really well in the next year or so, because again, people will get immunized, the lockdowns will end, and the economy will go back into shape again. So everything will go back to normal. So this is actually something I want to warn you about. Anytime you hear an argument about the market or the economy that is based on fundamentals, you should be very careful because usually those arguments turn out to be wrong, okay? Anytime you hear any kind of predictions about the market or the economy, in fact, that is based on fundamentals, usually those arguments turn out to be incorrect. Those projections and predictions turn out to be wrong. And I'll just give you some examples of this. If you cast your mind back to the end of 2019, December 2019, or the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2020, January 2020, everybody was super bullish about the markets. So if you recall, January of last year in 2020, and I would say the start of February of last year, 2020, most analysts and most commentators and the media were super bullish about the economy and the market. Why? Because of, again, their arguments were based on the fundamentals, not technicals, not the charts, but based on fundamentals. They were saying unemployment is really low, we have healthy growth, a healthy stock market. Again, we have the lowest unemployment numbers in history. People were saying the fundamentals of the economy are strong, and they were saying, therefore, the economy is going to do really well going forward. Of course, they were wrong, because what they did not see was this virus coming through, this pandemic happening. So you can see why whenever anybody tries to make arguments about the future, whenever anyone tries to make projections and predictions about the future using fundamentals, they're usually wrong. The same is true if they make projections or predictions about the markets. They're usually wrong when they're basing those predictions on fundamentals as opposed to the charts. Because the charts, here's the thing, guys, the charts and the price action was showing to us what I was saying to you last year. Again, excessive optimism, massive optimism and greed in the markets. In fact, we saw in December of 2019, we saw massive call buying, huge amounts of speculation, over speculation and optimism in the markets, which was a huge warning sign that something just wasn't right. Anytime you see over optimism and greed in the markets, usually the market responds by doing the exact opposite. Okay, that's what I'm hearing right now as well. I'm hearing right now, I'm sure you've heard this too, a lot of over optimism, confidence, overconfidence about the markets and the economy. By the way, let me give you another example of this. You may recall in March of last year when the markets crashed, when the markets began to drop quite heavily and everybody was panicking. If you recall, that was the start of the COVID crisis, the coronavirus panic situation, when nobody knew what was happening. The markets and investors were gripped with fear and panic, and that's why the markets were crashing hard. We saw a 34% drop in the stock markets, and pretty much everything began to drop. It wasn't just the stock markets, even Bitcoin had a massive drop. Now, if you recall what the narrative was in the media and among Wall Street analysts at the time, everyone was super bearish, except us. If you've been watching our channel, last March, even though the markets were dropping and crashing hard, we remained bullish on the markets. We said no. We said this drop in the market actually is very likely going to end very soon, and we're going to see a bounce, a rally in the markets. And I said the reason was there is no connection between fundamentals and the markets. There is simply, the market is not the economy. So we did the opposite of the herd. Whereas everybody was panicking, we got bullish in the markets. Now ask yourself this question. Why was everyone panicking? Why was everyone bearish on the markets when the markets crashed? Because again, herd mentality. Everybody was convinced that the reason why the market was dropping was because of the coronavirus situation. Wrong. We said there is no connection between the two. In fact, guys, you've seen for yourself so far, the market rallied over 60% despite rising cases of the coronavirus. Okay, we've had a massive bull market since the March lows of last year, despite rising cases of the virus. So there's simply no connection between the two. There's simply no connection between rising cases of the virus and the stock market. But again, my point simply is this. My point is that if you look back at the comments people were making in March of last year when the crash occurred, everyone was bearish because everyone was using fundamentals to make predictions about the future. They were saying pandemic, coronavirus, and they were saying unemployment numbers skyrocketing, massive unemployment numbers, and a recession. They were using fundamentals to make predictions about the future. As I've said before, guys, anytime anybody uses fundamentals to make predictions about the future, don't just walk away, run away, because usually those predictions end up being wrong. As simple as that. So that's why we look at price action. We look at the price action, look at the charts. The charts would tell us everything we need to know. So guys, the point of this video is simply this. I'm hearing the exact same mistakes being made this year as well. So I'm hearing, again, people in the media and also analysts on Wall Street, again, using fundamentals to make predictions about the future. So for example, what are we hearing from people in the media and in Wall Street? They're saying, well, the economy is going to go back into shape. Everyone's going to get vaccinated. Everyone's going to get immunized. COVID will disappear. And therefore, the economy will bounce back because the lockdowns will end and, everything's going to be okay again. So economy will do really well for the next couple of years. And the market, the stock market will do really well in the next couple of years. And again, I think whenever anybody is using fundamentals, fundamental analysis to make predictions about the future, usually the market does the exact opposite. So what's concerning me and what's worrying me right now is we're seeing massive optimism, overconfidence in the market at the moment as I'm making this video right now. We're seeing a super bullish rally in the markets, in the stock market, for example. We've seen giant rallies, for example, in small cap stocks. Small cap stocks have massively rallied. So bottom line is, guys, we're seeing a lot of over-optimism, overconfidence, and again, greed, lots of greed, as you can see here from this data. And you can see from this chart, dumb money is just super bullish about the market. And again, these are contrary indications, guys. These are all contrary indicators. Another example of the over-bullishness and over-optimism in the markets is speculation. Lots of rampant speculation. A good example of this is what happened with Gamestop, as I'm sure you've seen for yourself what happened with the shares of Gamestop, massively rallied higher. Now, let me just say something about this. As you guys know, I despise Wall Street. So the fact that these guys, these hedge funds in Wall Street, got kicked in between their legs by the small guy, by the Reddit traders, I think it's a good thing. I think anytime the small traders, the little guy out there, kicks Wall Street in the behind, I think it's a fantastic thing. So, well done to them for, making these hedge funds lose billions of dollars. But again, the bottom line is this. What we're seeing right now in the market, in the stock market and in the crypto market, everywhere, predominantly all the major markets out there, we're seeing rampant, excessive speculation, over-optimism, overconfidence. Again, this mentality that nothing's going to change, the market's going to go up forever. That's what people are thinking right now. If you listen to what the dumb money, again, what a lot of the people out there are saying, whether on social media or on the mainstream media, they're all predominantly very confident, overconfident about both the economy and the stock market. And basically everyone is just thinking that this will just continue going up forever. And usually when this happens, the market will do the exact opposite and go down again. So I think we should be very careful right now, especially in the next few weeks going into the end of February and the start of March. I think we need to be extremely careful because I think the market, the stock market, is going to get ready for a major correction. I think what's going to happen is a lot of the speculation and the rally we've seen in the markets is going to be given back. So the market probably will have a nasty drop in the next few weeks, going to the end of February and the start of March. And I think we'll see a lot of the gains in the markets being given back, being reversed. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying we're going to see a crash exactly like the one we saw in March of last year. I'm not saying the market's going to go back to the lows of March of last year. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying a big correction is overdue. I'm saying the market's overdue for a significant correction to reverse all the gains, most of the gains that we made in the last few months. And here's something else I want to say as well. This is actually quite important. I also think that the people who think that once everyone gets vaccinated and immunized, that the economy will bounce back, I think they might also be wrong about this. And here's why. Some medical experts are saying that it's possible we may never be free of this coronavirus, this COVID situation. Why? Because we have seen already the virus is mutating. We've seen several mutations, for example, again, we've seen mutations in the UK, South Africa, in South America as well. And some of these mutations are more deadly than the previous version. So some medical experts are saying that unless the poorer countries, not just the rich countries like America and Europe, but unless everywhere in the world gets immunized quickly, what's going to happen is that this virus is going to mutate very soon, very quickly. And therefore, we may have versions of this virus, variants of the virus, that could be even more deadly and perhaps we'll have no vaccines for. So at the moment, we've got vaccines for the current versions of the virus. But what if the virus keeps mutating? And let's say we have a mutation of virus that there is no vaccine for. Then what's going to happen? Then I guess scientists will have to go back to square one and we'll have to start all over again, make a new vaccine for the new version of the virus. And what's going to happen to the economy then? How long will we have to continue these lockdowns? And that's going to have a massive detrimental impact on the economy, on jobs. Recession is going to continue getting worse. Now, of course, I hope it doesn't happen that way. Of course, nobody wants that to happen. All I'm saying is the narrative in the mainstream media and also in social media as well, that the economy will just bounce back because now we've got vaccines, is probably wrong. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So anytime anyone uses fundamentals to project and predict about the future, they're usually on the wrong side. And by the way, that is the reason why most economists end up being wrong about the markets and the economy. Because what they do is, it's a bit like driving, but only looking at the rearview mirror. What's happening behind you? Then of course you're going to have an accident, right? And that's predominantly what a lot of people are doing right now in the media. Say economists, Wall Street people, they're using data and information about the present and the past to make predictions about the future. And that's usually wrong. That is why we prefer to use the charts and again, price action to determine better predictions than projections about the future. And that's why I think at the moment, most of the charts and over-optimism, rampant speculation in the market right now is showing to us we should be careful because this excessive optimism and overconfidence in the markets could end up backfiring. And I think we could see a major correction and a reversal of predominantly most of the gains we've made in the past few months happening in the markets pretty soon. What impact could that have on Bitcoin? I don't know. Depends on the correlation between Bitcoin and the stock market. probably we might see some downward impact on Bitcoin if the stock market starts a correction, if the correlation continues. Anyway, guys, that's all I want to say for now in this video. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot. Bye now. Hi guys, before I finish the video, I just have a very small request, which is, firstly, if you haven't already subscribed to our videos, please make sure you do so now by clicking the subscribe button. But also, very importantly, please also click on the bell icon right next to the subscribe button. By clicking on the bell icon, this ensures that you're notified whenever we post a brand new video, because it is possible that some of our videos may not appear in your feed. So by clicking on the bell icon, this ensures that whenever we post a brand new video, you're notified so you don't miss a future video update. Thanks very much indeed, guys. I appreciate it, and bye for now.